I said to you yesterday, she was chiseled out, but notice that the son was not chiseled out. Why is it that the son is not chiseled out? Because we still go to church on Sunday, because we can still go to church on Sunday and have sunrise service, so they're here, they're still deifying the sun. But you're truly the children of the sun because Ra has kissed you from the dawn of time. But that area, you see a set thrown on top of the sun, symbolizing that that is a set. So when Theodosius and Justinian came here in the 4th and 6th century AD, they're the ones who closed this temple down. Not only did they close it down, but they also started to plagiarize many ideas from this temple where it ended up in the Western world. For instance, you see the Ark of I.S.I.S that you see right behind me. It's from here where the Ark was taken out from the holies of the holies, and the priests, the Kari head priests at this time were called the pastori. That's where the Western world got the term pastor from. Because during this time of the Ptolemies, these were the pastori priests who carried the Ark over to that island called Bigger Island. As I showed you right here, the same idea, where the carrying of the Ark of the Black Madonna in France, as I said before, this temple, as I repeated again, was named after this temple right here, I.S.I.S, later became Paris, France, and the Notre Dame temple was copied from here. And you see the Ark right here, where they still have, at this time, Mary being black and Jesus being black. Look at the white men carrying the Ark of Mary, which was no other than a takeoff of the Ark of I.S.I.S that you see right here on the temple from the original Opet festival, showing where the priest took I.S.I.S' Ark to go and meet her husband Osiris. At this time, they still had Mary is black. She was not white here, showing the procession that they have in Europe that was originally copied from African people. And keep in mind, it was St. Luke is the one who made the first Mary as being black. That was St. Luke. And the back part of the Mimizi house, which is the birthing house, you will see the goddess I.S.I.S. And here's the goddess I.S.I.S right here, but you'll notice that she's chiseled out. What makes the Italian, European Madonna and Child more sacred than yours when you had it first? She was called the Theotokos. What is the Theotokos? She was called the Mother of God. She was worshipped all over Europe, known as the Herculean worship of the goddess I.S.I.S. So here we see an ancient spiritual story passed down through the millenniums, and we have no idea that its origin started right here, but yet this one is supposed to be so pagan and so heathen. Well, if it was supposed to be so pagan and so heathen, why would they copy the same exact idea of the Madonna and Child? So here's where the original story began at, brothers and sisters. So that's what we're trying to reveal to you. These things are not told to these groups who are coming up in here. They're not telling her about the original goddess right here where it all began, where she was de-Africanized at the conference of Ephesus in 431 AD. You need to study those ecumenical conferences, because it's at those ecumenical conferences where they literally copied this from. That's why they're more interested in what I'm saying over there, looking at you, because we're over here telling the truth. They're not even paying no attention to their guide over there. All right? Now let's go up into the Mimizi house. We have to line up like this here. Brothers and sisters, again, we want to show you some reliefs. It took me years coming here studying these reliefs on the temples. Thank you, sister. And seeing where many of the concepts were literally taken from African people. Keep in mind when Theodosius and Justinian came in to Africa, for many years they came in as plunderers of this temple right here. And why did they close it down? As I said before, they closed it down because they were stealing many of their theological concepts right up out of Africa. And that's what we want to deal with right here. Now here we have I.S.I.S, as our ancestors called her I.S.I.S, with her holy child. Why did they chisel it out? Justinian is the one who closed this temple down, where many of our Nubian brothers and sisters used this temple and saw I.S.I.S and Horus as sacred until the coming of Justinian, when they closed down to forbid our brothers and sisters to worship the first Madonna and Child. The first Trinity came directly from African people. Why did they chisel it out? Because you were on this temple. And here she is right here. Now, this is the African goddess that goes back 4,100 years BC, the Madonna and Child. You see her lactating the holy child Horus right here. This was the African goddess that had to be chiseled out. And sister, you come over here for a second. Come right on over here for a second. All right? We see something here? This goddess here was our soul, was our spirit. And that's what had to be eradicated to start the spiritual enslavement of African people. So the stopping of the worshiping the goddess was literally the stopping of the worshiping of our women, our children, and us as an African family. That's why they came in and tried to hack her out, as you see on the relief right here. Over 3,000 years ago, in the world's first holy city called Aptu, the pilgrimages took place, where our ancestors came here to pay homage to I.S.I.S. Let's go inside of the temple to see the world's first Immaculate Conception and Resurrection story for an eyewitness account that our ancestors left us over 3,000 years ago. Now look at this. You can see where the Western world church got its design. Long before you had this, the I.S.I.S shrine was already there. For those of you who are just coming in, this is the earliest architectural structure that they call Roman arches. No such thing as Roman arches. These are African arches. If you were to take Western architecture, they say this is Roman arches, but you see this is known thousands of years ago. This is called the I.S.I.S shrine. And here we see the earliest Immaculate Conception. Immaculate means clean. That means she has known no other man. No other man has entered her body. She will have a clean conception. It's the Europeans who corrupted the story, and now we are looked at as a European Madonna and Child, where the concept was copied from here. Keep in mind that the only person who mentions the Immaculate Conception is Luke. Mark doesn't mention it, and then also Matthew doesn't mention it, and John doesn't mention it. Luke mentions it only in terms of being clean. That literally means only one man has entered her body, and that is the seed of I.S.I.S. That means clean conception. That's what immaculate means, until later on at the conference of Ephesus, where our goddess I.S.I.S was de-Africanized, where they brought on this whole immaculate conception of the European image of the Madonna and Child that was copied from here. Come in and see the immaculate conception. This is called the I.S.I.S shrine, by the way, the I.S.I.S shrine. Many of the reliefs have been chiseled out. Fortunately, this one is here telling of the first virgin birth resurrection story, where the goddess I.S.I.S forms herself into a bird and descends on top of I.S.I.S penis. Although you see the chiseling out of this penis, because many of the Europeans who were coming in during the Roman times could not deal with the sacredness of the body like Theodosius and Justinian and others. But I.S.I.S is going to take the seed from his body to impregnate herself. And this is the earliest concept of the Immaculate Conception, long before an angel of the Lord and Gabriel coming to Mary and said she's going to be with the Holy Child. Look how I.S.I.S is lying out on the bed. Look how the Romans copied the concept. Let's go to Rome. See the Pope lying out on the same bed, same hedge crown that I.S.I.S is wearing as well, same funeral beds, even got the lion heads that you see right here, even down to the detail of the lion heads of the funeral bed. Now, the only difference is, instead of a bird perpendicular to the Pope, they have the white Mary and Jesus, the European Mary and Jesus. But here, let's take and put a set right above here, and you got the same story, the prototype of the Madonna and Child, where she was known as the Theotokos, or the Mother of God. Then she in turn becomes impregnated, and she's in the form of, in this form, as the Mheted Ra, or the sacred baboon, because the baboon representing birth. You see her stomach swelled up, but she also forms the zoot type, okay, of the hippo. Why the hippo for the zoot type? Because the hippo comes out of the water. It bursts out of the water, okay? And a woman looks something like a hippo. No insult, but they saw that that symbolically shows that she's impregnated, and how the hippo comes out of the water is symbolically like breaking her water. So the zoot type that they used was the hippo. So I.S.I.S is now impregnated with the holy seed of I.S.I.S that she had taken from him when she formed herself into the bird, as you see the falcon. You know it's I.S.I.S because that's her glyph for I.S.I.S. She is now impregnated with the Holy Child. Here we see it, the earliest Holy Child concept of a virgin birth story. Here's the prototype of it all. This was the origin where people would come in. These temples were covered in sand. After they took everything they wanted, then it was covered up. Time took them over. Now we're dug out to come back to see where the story came from. The earliest Immaculate Conception and Resurrection story.
end of the clip, the ISIS gunman proudly declares,
ISIS already well into Baqaba, overrunning another army base just 37 miles northeast of Baghdad. The terrorists edging closer than ever to the capital.
If Baghdad falls, if the central government falls, a disaster awaits us of monumental
Stills
proportions.
posted on an ISIS Twitter account show a shallow ditch filled with bodies.
Islamist terrorist group ISIS apparently capturing dozens of Iraqi soldiers dressed in civilian clothes, lining them up for execution. The bloodshed leaving no doubt about their brutality as ISIS seizes Tal Afar.
New concerns about the chaotic fight in Iraq spilling over into neighboring Jordan. One U.S. counterterrorism official tells CNN the aggressive push by the Islamist militant group ISIS to the border with Jordan is especially...
From what we understand, the ISIS group is about 70 to 100.
Brutality is no secret, but some Islamic extremists are taking public displays of torture to a new level. It is happening in the northern city of Raqqa. Executions staged to look like crucifixions. Raqqa is controlled by the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, an Islamic group whose interpretation of Sharia law is so extreme, Al-Qaeda parted ways with it.
ISIS is trying to send the message that if you are an enemy of ISIS, you're an enemy of God. And this symbolic crucifixion is something that used to be carried out in ancient times in the old Muslim empires, where the Roman empires, the Muslim empires used to crucify enemies of the state as enemies of God. So this is the kind of rhetorical message they're trying to send to the public.
The images you are about to see are extremely graphic, showing how far extremist groups are going to exert their control. This is a photo of a body displayed crucifixion style on a wooden cross. The sign says, "This man fought Muslims and detonated an IED here." The picture was taken by a bystander on Tuesday. 3 days later, the body remained on the cross. We don't know much about Tuesday's second victim, though his fate is clearly the same. ISIS carried out 7 public executions in Raqqa Tuesday. 2 were displayed after death.
The fact is that crucifixion was an ancient form of execution for high treason in the Roman world and in the Muslim world of late antiquity. And so this is really the sort of textual origins that ISIS is drawing upon. But that is to, that said, it is completely at odds with what Muslim practice has been in terms of justice and the judicial process and procedure for hundreds and hundreds of years.
The crucifixion displays began in March when ISIS accused a shepherd of murder and theft. He was shot in the head and tied to a wooden cross, the building bearing the group's name and flag. All 3 men were shot first, not killed by crucifixion. But their message is clear to the people who live here. Mohammed Jamjoom, CNN, Atlanta.
Hi everyone, this is 59 Angels Current Events. Today I'm going to be discussing the current crisis that has escalated in the Middle East, which I believe is very biblical and prophetic events that are now unfolding. Now, if you're at all familiar with the goddess Isis, you will know that she is one of the most important figures in the mystery schools and a favorite of Freemasonry and the Illuminati. Isn't it rather odd that this ISIS, the I.S.I.S, is now being referred to as the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria? And the barbaric assault that we are witnessing in Iraq, and that this wave of Western armed and financed Islamic militants that are invading Iraq are also conveniently threatening Syria and Iran. Is this a deliberate revealing of the goddess Isis and the elite's occult alliance to powerful symbolic entities? Now, it's important to note that almost every portrayal of a feminine goddess is prevalent in Freemason literature and even the architecture, and always it's in reference to Isis. And we see this represented in like the Statue of Liberty, Mother Mary, as well as most of the Washington monuments and structures. Now, ISIS is known as the Queen of Heavens, and also the goddess I.S.I.S, and Astaroth, and Diana. Now these are all one and the same goddesses that basically throughout Ephesus and throughout the Bible, the names have evolved to fit, whatever location the people were in at the time. But the thing remains the same, as they were all worshiping this goddess. Now, the worldly powers that be are beholden to other powers that be, which are all satanic in nature. And in Islam, which is traced all the way back to ancient Babylon, in one form or another, this goddess Isis has been worshipped above God. In Mecca, they have a black stone, which is called the Kaaba, that has made its way from ancient Babylon as a worshipped meteor fallen from heaven to Saudi Arabia, which is the worshipped false idol of the Islamic faith. Now, this idol represents the goddess Diana, or Semiramis. Now, is this biblical, and is this relevant in what we are now witnessing in the Middle East? Critical implications of this current crisis could very well result in local immigration, economy, food and energy crisis issues in the coming weeks and months. Now, with U.S. now involved in this crisis of intervention, Russia and Iran most likely will become involved at some point. And if it all blows up then we here in America are next to blow. After all, we are talking about what is sure to come here, as our leaders are now openly calling for a new world order. Is this a coincidence in opening our borders to this mass immigration of illegals? The release of the 5 Islamic terrorists for the exchange of one Islamic sympathizer released by the name of Bergdahl. I really don't think that these events are a coincidence when they're adding up with what is now occurring with, the Islamic nations in Iraq, with this ancient goddess ISIS being used to refer to this mass slaughter, that has taken place in Iraq. I think the importance of this Middle East war, in conjunction with all the other events taking shape in our country, is really leading up to the revived Islamic Caliphate and the worship of this demonic ancient Babylonian goddess Isis. That will be forced upon the world. Now, Isis was believed to be very powerful in the ways of magic, having the ability to create and destroy life with mere words. She not only knew the words which needed to be spoken to cause certain things to occur, but was also able to use exact pronunciation and emphasis in order for the desired effect to occur. It is believed that if the best effect was to be produced by words of power, they must be uttered in a certain tone of voice and at a certain rate and at a certain time of day or night, with appropriate gestures or ceremonies. And only when these conditions have been met can true magic occur. The magic of Isis has appeared in many forms, throughout Egypt mythology, from her ability to bring her dead and disembodied husband Osiris back to life and create with him a son, to the learning of the sacred names of Ra. Isis had shown magical talent beyond the other gods. Perhaps the best way to explain Isis can be found in the invocation of Isis, which is a primary prayer said to Isis during worship. Now, two great festivals are dedicated to Isis. The first was celebrated on the vernal equinox to celebrate the return of life to the world, which was around March 20th. And this held to the second celebration, which usually started on October 31st and lasted through November 3rd. During this fourth-day period, a passion play was acted out over the death of Osiris and the magic of Isis returning him to life. During the first day, actors would impersonate Isis and her son Horus, as well as various other gods, as they searched across the world for the 14 body parts of Osiris. The second and third days showed the reassembly and rebirth of Osiris, and the fourth day was a wild rejoicing over the success of Isis and the coming of the newly immortal Osiris. The belief is that through worship of Isis and strong devotion, she will return you to life as well should you die, and you shall experience eternal happiness under her nurturing care, just as Osiris was rebuilt and shall rule forever. Now, do you think that as such was the case in Osiris, that ISIS obviously did not have the powers to bring him back to life, but everybody thought so. It was a great deception of Satan that had put it in the hearts and minds of people then.
Anything that is African is degraded. And that's how the white man wanted to be. Because he knows if we have knowledge of ourselves, he can never beat us. So he always degrades African culture. Now today, our brothers are pimping today. They got what you call the pimp cup. But the damn preacher got a damn pimp cup too. Okay? Let's be real about it. They got all these mega churches throughout all these communities. They said they were nothing but like temples sitting on Mount Olympus. Whole damn neighborhood is just destroyed. And there's a reason why they letting these people build these mega churches. Because they want you to run up in there. It makes it look like it's important. Everything else is destroyed. That means, I guess, if what they teaching must be good because they can live like this. They living good. And this is their God. Their God must be good, because it gives them all these treasures, all this wealth. So today, it's all about who's the pimp and who's the hoe, okay? Because that's really the basic street level to this. Ain't no even trying to dress it up. Either you a pimp or you a hoe. You a master or you a slave. That's it, ain't no in between. Here again, you got clowns like Lil John with his pimp cup. But yet it's still the church got their pimp cup. Because you run in there and you put your money in there every damn Sunday, every Wednesday. They got choir rehearsal, they got bread and breakfast, they got all these damn things that go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You put all your money in there and you can't tell me what it done for the damn black community at all. Detroit is destroyed. And they got all these mega churches around there. Okay? And they're getting faith-based money. That means they in allegiance with the goddamn beast. Because the crapper is not going to give you $8 unless you working along his agenda. That's a fact. I don't want to argue with nobody. Don't like it, get up and get out. Because we ain't here about facts today. Our babies is dying because of the lack of truth. And I know it hurt, but damn it, it's the truth. And if you can't deal with the truth, then I'm sorry. I'm going in today. I got to beat on this white man every damn day that I can. That's the mission of my life, is to destroy the white man and everything that he done created. Don't like it too bad. I know you got a little white auntie in your family. One of your grandmamas was white. Granddaddy, I don't give a damn. I don't care what, and nobody can tell. My bloodline start with me if I got to start all over. I cut every goddamn thing off my tree and start with me if I have to suffer crap. Okay? You don't accept the damn rapist of your mother. I'm this, I'm half this. Nigga, you ain't half nothing. They was hanging your ass just 50 years ago. Now you want to be down. Nigga, get your mind right. You're African. We all come from Africa. But not what they done, they done made Africa look like the Tarzan and Jane shit you see on TV. Niggas running through the damn jungle with a damn straw pajamas on and shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, woo, and see, the babies look at that. And they don't want to be identified. They want to be identified with the rappers, with the gold. See, they make it look like that Africa, all Africa was savages. But they won't point to Egypt and Nubia and Ethiopia and Mali, Songhai, Great Zimbabwe, the Zulu Empire, Mona Mopata, Carthage. We got damn civilizations all over Africa. And you let the cracker go in there and show you this Tarzan and Jane shit. Who was responsible? That white man. I don't give a damn which one of them up there you choose. He's a cracker. And their agenda is all the same. For you to rule, for them to rule in your psyche. When we came over here, we was killing crackers. Now we worship crackers. What happened? It's fire, man. Catholic Church shaken by sex scandals. I don't know why. They've been doing it for so damn long. Look at that. The Catholic Church is now counting the cause of the revelation of sexual abuse by priests. All right, Christians, let me get this water, because I'm going to go in. I'm going to beat your Jesus up, and so you can get mad. If you want to get up out of here, go on up out of here. But you ain't going to be able to take this up out your mind. Jesus is a faggot, y'all. Jesus is a faggot. You see this? This is John. If you type in Google Jesus and John, this will always be the position you will find in me. This will always be the position that you find in me. This is his love. It's pedophilia, pedestrianism. When you got an older male and you got a younger male. That's the crime that these crackers is creating in the Catholic Church. They messing with little boys. They messing with little boys. I think I heard somebody. One down. One down. One down. I don't play no game. Look at this. CG, see the disciple hugging him. This is the same thing. Look at the cracker cringe. He just got so many little boys. He don't even know which one he gonna hit first. It's the same position that they in. It's the same homosexual. The white man is a faggot, man. Anything that he created, homosexuality is in it. Anything. Masonry, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, the government, all of that got homosexuality in it. Anywhere the white man is, there is a massive practice of homosexuality. See it? I didn't create it. You get mad? Too damn bad. They created that. See how he lay on there? See how he laying on me? See how he feeding these motherfuckers? This is bitch shit. Don't care what y'all say. We're the soldiers, man. We can't go for no shit like that. Y'all niggas need to quit teaching that shit. That's faggotry. See this? This Greek. See the man Fallon's long? He's about to crawl up on that. He's a little older than him and sit on it. And so psychologically and symbolically, this is what this is when you sit your baby on Santa Claus. Get these crackers out of your life. They are ruining you. Totally. Look at this shit, dumb, stupid ass cracker. Somebody needs to just walk right and just slap both of their asses. Stupid ass crack. He gonna... Let's move on, family. Look at it. Jesus is a homosexual deity. So this is the Greek. This is Christianity. This is your white man who gave you your book. This is your Queen James Bible, a homosexual. And his own people then told you he was a fag. And you still won't believe it. No. And you can paint his ass black. Ain't no black Jesus. That's a Tsar. Ain't no Jesus. They just doing that shit to make you feel good. The so-called black is a Tsar. They raped a Tsar and brought on Jesus. So ain't no black Jesus. Even if he black, still no manuscripts on him. He's in the same damn position as a white Jesus. There is no manuscript on Jesus outside of those 4 gospels. It's some other shit, but it comes much later.
Curiosity, write some textbooks if you don't control the images. Curiosity lives in the
how they're going to take back a black community. What's they do? They paint over all the black murals there. Study that. In every city in America, they will take it back. The first thing they find, we like to put images on the side of the building. This is our community, Malcolm X, Dr. King, they paint them over because that's your connection. So they got to get rid of your connection by destroying the images. Next slide. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper in 1482. Columbus so-called discovered America in 1492. What's the relationship between The Last Supper in 1482 and Columbus in 1492? Because they was going to use the religion to take over the country. Okay, first, and if that didn't work, then they were bringing the military. It didn't work with a lot of Native Americans, so they brought the military in after the religion fell. But The Last Supper was painted to prepare for white supremacy's takeover of the world. And it's so sad because when you study colonialism in Africa and in the Caribbean, you see black people voluntarily giving up their native religion, being baptized. Guess who, when he painted this Last Supper, guess who Jesus was? His uncle. You can read this in history. Jesus was Leonardo da Vinci's uncle, and guess who the 12 disciples was? 12 criminals that he got to sit in from the local jail. Study it, yes. His uncle and 12 criminals, a rapist, a thief, a pedophile, credit card hustler. And this is hanging up on your wall. I went to a friend of mine's house. Her mother had one of these, almost as big as that size right there. And guess what? When you turn the lights off, it lights up that dark. Even when you sleep. Next slide. I don't know why y'all let y'all son sit on Santa Claus' lap. Some of y'all still doing that. Okay? Next slide. This is also powerful. Remember this movie? Okay? That's a very powerful. Next slide. This is in Brazil. There you go right there. The mountaintop. Look at that. This might be a black country, but look around. Look how white the stone is. Next slide. Homosexual Jesus. I call that the Michael Jackson Jesus. Look at the lips. Look at that. Very feminine characteristics. Look at the sign in the fingers. Okay? Okay? That goes back to what? White secret societies. Devil worship. Next slide. White man is the holiest of holies. All white. Next slide. Look at him. R&B singing. Next slide. White man is the cops, the insurance man, DHS. Next slide. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel in 1508 for Pope Julius II, a few years after Da Vinci's Sistine Chapel. Next slide. I'm going to get to the black Jesus that we want to stop. White man is provider of the family. Next slide. Remember this movie came out? Black mega churches will reserve 10 buses and take their whole black congregation to go to this movie that was made by Mel Gibson, who just got in trouble for making what? Private racial comments about black people. And we made this one of the top-selling religious movies of all time. Next slide. Now look what we did. When we made Jesus black, all we did was take the white one and do what? Give him a suntan. Look at his hair. He still got the whole Little Richard thing going on. Next slide. Look at it. Look. This is all we did. Look at what we did. Gay is hell up. Next slide. Look, all you did was take him and give him a suntan. He still got a perm. Now look, the baby got natural hair, but he got a perm. Next slide. Look at that. The same picture. He got cornrows up there. I don't know. Next slide. Look, that's all we did. Next slide. And if you notice, everyone passes the brown paper bag test. Everyone. Now look, that is a feminization right there. Come get me. I'm free. Look. Watch this second. If you notice, every white Jesus I showed you was fully clothed. Did y'all notice that? Except the ones being crucified. Why is it all the black Jesuses are damn near all naked? Look at that. An effeminate and homosexualized savior. Sexually charged. Next slide. Sexually charged. Now, remember the black angels, right? And then they gave us picture image for the commercial. Look at that. The ripping the clothes off of behind, right there. Black angels with the white angels. Y'all remember the Tasmanian devil from Bugs Bunny? Do y'all know where that come from? The British went to Tasmania, an island off of Australia, and killed every living black person there. There's no Tasmanians left in the world. And what does Walt Disney do? They create a cult from the Tasmanian people. They call it the Tasmanian devil. How many of y'all knew who was the guy that was always Bugs Bunny and the long gun? How many of y'all knew that the original Elmer Fudd was black? slide. Okay, principles of Garveyism, Pan-African economic power. Next one, Black image of God. Next one, Pan-African unity, African identity, Pan-African political power, race pride, Pan-African centralized nexus of power on the continent of Africa. That's the difference between a Pan-African nationalist and a Black nationalist. People say, Brother Umar, you're a Pan-African nationalist. How is that different from a Black nationalist? A Black nationalist does not want to leave America. He simply wants America to give him a couple states so he can have his own kingdom here. He still wants the VCR play. He still needs the iPod. He still needs the DVD. He's a revolutionary with a Walkman. The Pan-Africanists, we want our nation centralized on the continent. As the Honorable Marcus Messiah always said when he was asked whether he was an African or Jamaican, he said, I will never give up a continent